And now, Andrew Does Everything proudly presents Cinderella, based on the story of Cinderella. Once upon a time, there lived a young girl named Cinderella. Cinderella had 5 ugly, mean stepsisters named Tasha, Hannah, Rena, and the twins Ellie and Emmy. Tasha, Hannah, Rena, Ellie, and Esme made Cinderella do all the chores. Sweep the floors, wash the dishes, do it all, said Tasha, Hannah, Rena, Ellie, and Emmy all together. One day, the king of Tripleville's messenger said, Hear ye, the king of Tripleville is going to throw a ball, and whoever has the most beautiful gown and crown shall marry his son, Prince Stripling. But Cinderella is not welcome. Her stepsisters are... Tasha said, He's going to marry me. Hannah said, No way, Tasha. He's going to marry me. Rena said, Both of you are wrong. He's going to marry me. Ellie said, All 3 of you are wrong. He's going to marry me. Emmy said, Are you kidding, sister? He's going to marry me. Later, Cinderella is so sad because she cannot go to the ball. Suddenly, Cinderella's fairy godmother asks what's wrong. Why are you crying, Cinderella? She asks. Cinderella responds, I can't go to the ball and marry Prince Stripling. The fairy godmother said, I can help with a bit of magic. She waved her magic wand and chanted the magic word. Triply, trappily, triply, true. And then Cinderella's chores are all done, but the fairy godmother said she's not done. He then said, Cinderella, go fetch me a good old pumpkin. Luckily, Cinderella has 3 pumpkins. The fairy godmother waved her magic wand and chanted the magic word, triply, trappily, troppily, true. And then the 3 pumpkins turned into a handsome coach drawn by 6 strong horses. And then Cinderella's do-rag and red dress turned into a gown and crown. Cinderella said, I've never seen such a triple-tastic crown and gown. And get a load of my glass slippers. The fairy godmother said, Have fun, Cinderella, but I would warn you. Return home before midnight, or the spell will be broken. Cinderella accepted the warning. Meanwhile, at the ball, Prince Stripling was wondering who he should marry. Tasha, Hannah, Rena, Ellie, and Emmy say all together, He's walking towards me! But he's not walking towards any of them. But he's walking towards Cinderella. Cinderella and Prince Stripling dance together. But later, Cinderella realized it's almost midnight, so she scurried out of the ball. And she's running so fast that she lost one of her glass slippers. Prince Stripling was so worried. He afraid that he might never see Cinderella again. So he traveled around Tripleville to find her and brought the tiny glass slipper with him. He knocked on the door of the house where Cinderella and her ugly, mean stepsisters lived. Ladies, I have a favor to ask. Can you try on this glass slipper? Tasha first. Hannah second. Rena third, and the twins last, but none of their feet fit. Suddenly, Prince Stripling noticed Cinderella singing. She exclaimed, Prince Stripling, is that you? Prince Stripling said, Of course it's me. Freela gets so excited because she's happy to have Prince Tripling back. And he doesn't need to put on the glass slipper back on Freela's foot because it's so uncomfortable. And they both live happily ever after. The end. And now, Introduce Everything proudly presents for the 3100 and episode special 31 It is based on the story of Cinderella with a bit of a twist. Let's tell you the story, shall we, Andrew's doers? Once upon a time, there was a young woman named 31 had 9 ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters named Tasha, Hilda, Isabella, Ramona, Tanya, Yelena, Olivia, Nina, and Ella. All 9 of them made 31 do all the chores and watch her work by saying, 31 wench! Sweep the floors, wash the dishes, do it all! One day, the king of Undrichelmham's messenger arrives and says, Hear ye, the king of Undrichelmham, his royal majesty, is going to throw a ball, and whoever has the most beautiful gown and crown shall marry his son, Prince Undrichelmham. Can I come? Asks 31 but she's denied. So her ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters are invited. He's going to marry me, said Tasha, the oldest stepsister, but her younger sisters disagree. They even test her 31 dress. Later, 31 is so sad, distraught and upset about not going to the ball and marry Prince Undrichelmham. Suddenly, she was crying so hard that she didn't know. Her fairy godmother arrives and comforts her. There now, my dear 31 I'll fix everything for you, she said. She then waves her magic wand. And because of that, 31 chores are all done. But her fairy godmother is not done yet, she said. 31 go fetch me a pumpkin. Luckily, 31 has 31 pumpkins and 62 mice. 31's fairy godmother waves her magic wand again to turn the 31 pumpkins into a handsome coach and 62 mice and horses and fixes 31's torn dress and makes it bigger and better. 31 said, I've never seen such a wonderful gown. Get out of my glass slippers, fairy godmother. How can I ever thank you enough? And climbed into the coach. 31 his fairy godmother said, Well, you can't. But have fun, 31 my dear. But I would warn you, return home before midnight, or the spell will be broken and everything will change back to the way it was before. And gave her a clock to tell her what time it is. 31 accepted the warning. Meanwhile, at the ball, the king of Undrichelmham says, Good evening, everyone. Prince Undrichelmham was wondering who he should marry. Isn't that right, son? In which the Prince Undrichelmham responds, Yes, father. Suddenly, 31 arrived at the ball just in time. He's walking towards me, say Tasha, Hilda, Isabella, Ramona, Tanya, Yelena, Olivia, Nina, and Ella all together. But Prince Undrichelmham is not walking towards any of them. He's walking towards 31 Prince Undrichelmham then says, May I have this dance? In which 31 responds, I would be delighted. And so, 31 and Prince Undrichelmham dance happily together, but later. 31 checks her clock and it's almost midnight, so she scurried out of the ball. And she was running so fast that she lost one of her glass slippers. Prince Toppling was really worried that he might never see 31 again. The king of Toppling comforts him by saying, There now, son. I think we'll be able to find 31 my dear daughter-in-law. And so, the king of Toppling and Prince Toppling began their journey all around Toppling to find her 31 and brought the glass slipper she lost with them. By the time they arrived, Prince Toppling knocked on the door of the home where 31 and her 9 ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters lived. But instead of 31 they find Tasha to Ella. Prince Toppling then said, Ladies, my father, the king of Toppling and I have a favor to ask. Can any of you try on this glass slipper? Tasha is first, but her foot is too big. Hilda is next, but her foot is too small. Nonsense! It fits! She said. The rest are the same, but none of their feet are the right size. Suddenly, the king of Toppling and Prince Toppling noticed saying, Your Majesty and Prince Toppling, is that you guys? She hollered excitedly. The glass slipper fits! And 31 the king of Toppling and the Prince Toppling lived happily ever after. The end. I hope you enjoyed this story. Sorry it's been a few side effects, but don't worry. And by the way, I've been debating on making some sequels. So if you want to see maybe someday 31 2, 31 Wishes Come True, or something like that. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share on Andrew Does Everything. And buy our merchandise at andrewdoeseverything.com. Take care. Bye.